Shao, here's your Starfall hilt. So I've got the blade plug in right now, but just wanted to kind of do a quick intro, show you the etch up close. We'll actually come down to the table and do some internals, but yeah. So let's take a quick deep dive on this saber that Nick did for you, and then we'll come back out. I'll put a blade in and then demo some functionalities. Anything that's not covered in this video, there will be a printout for how to operate this with the one button setup. So yeah, let's get it down to the table, talk about the internals, show you the chassis, come back out, put a blade in, and then we'll be wrapped up. Shao, here's your Starfall Sabers hilt. It's fully installed now, and just a quick rundown of how to operate this. I do want to demonstrate the etch that you had me do. So what I did to get all of the words is I aligned your name with the button, right? So that says Shao. And then I forget what you had me etch, but here it is in Orabesh. I think it's Latin for something about a light and a darkness or something like that. So yeah, this is running a single button setup. So that's your main button. So there is only a blade set screw right here. This is holding the chassis with the pogo pins, but this hilt does not come with an Allen wrench, so that shouldn't be a problem, but just make sure that you do not mess with that, because since it's spring loaded, if the chassis is in, this could get out of alignment, and then the button doesn't work and all that. So yeah, so we'll just take the blade plug out real quick. This is running a CC Sabers NeoPixel, and to get to everything, you just want to undo the pommel. And you'll want to cup it in your hand, because just like you saw, it could fly out. So here's your chassis. You did not ask me to provide a battery, but I'm just going to use this one as a demonstration. So here is your Profi V2. You have access to your micro USB and your SD card if you just want to use tweezers. This can flip up if you need to, but you should never have to take it out. It's a snap fit right now. You've got a kill switch, spring side's your negative. You're running a stock rotary PCB. You asked me to put some NeoPixels in, so I just shoved a bunch of them in. There's a 15 NeoPixel strip on either side of the fatter section, and then there's a 25 NeoPixel strip here, and I've subdivided this into 3 blade styles. So you've got mirrored blade styles here, and then a center one. And then just because I thought it'd be interesting, I went ahead and put a little tiny brass tactile here. So in case you wanted to switch through fonts and kind of see stuff, you wouldn't have to shove the chassis in, hit the button, pull it back out to see anything. You could use that little tactile button. It's running a 28 millimeter bass speaker from the Saber Bay. And so here's your kill switch. And so what's nice about this particular setup is you just have to pull it out to turn it back on and off. You can leave your battery in. There is a 15-minute timeout. So these accents, if you leave the battery in and the Saber's on, and you just kind of have this on your shelf, after about 15 minutes, the accents will turn off. And then you'll need to do a button press to kind of wake the Saber back up. It doesn't have deep sleep, but it does have like a mild sleep function. So to put a battery in, spring side's your negative. And then you want to hit the kill switch. You'll get your boot sound. So you'll see those accents. And then you'll see that accent. And then I did include gesture on controls. So you have twist on and thrust on and twist off. Or if you wanted to use the tactile, you'd have to hold, long press hold to turn it off. So, and then similarly, you'll do a long press, about a second, to switch between the fonts. Oops, I didn't really.
Celestial
So as long as the saber is kind of upright, the long press will move forward in the presets. If the hilt is inverted or the chassis is inverted, you'll go backwards. So if we wanted to go backwards real quick. I accidentally double tapped it there. So let's put it in. And so do be mindful there's a diameter change. So you don't want to just ram it in here. You'll want to make sure you get into that smaller diameter first, and then it will just kind of line up. And because it's a rotary PCB, you can throw it in any way, and you'll put your pommel on, and then it will cinch up, and you'll feel those pins connect. So now, okay, so this is running OS 6.7, and it requires a one-button prop file. It's running the FET263, so anything I don't cover in this video, I've got a printout here for all those instructions. But with a one-button control, it can be a little cumbersome to remember all of the features that are available with Profi. But the main ones are press to activate, long press to deactivate, long press while it's off to move forward in the presets, and then we'll go over some of the rest of the functions as the blade is in. It's programmed for a 32-inch, 1-inch diameter NeoPixel blade, so hopefully you'll be picking that up. I will demonstrate that with what I have here in-house. That's just I think it's a homemade blade. But yeah, so let's put a blade in it, and then we'll cover all the rest of the functionality. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take the blade plug out, and as we go to put the 1-inch diameter 32-inch blade in, we just want to set those on the CC Sabers pogo pins. There's no need to put any extra pressure, just set them on there, and then use your set screw, thumb screw, to lock it in place. And now we can hit activate. You do have gesture controls, twist on and twist off. You also have thrust on, which is kind of like a forward or backward motion in a horizontal position. So let me demonstrate that real quick. Okay. The gesture controls to turn it on and off will get you into battle mode. And with a one-button setup, battle mode's kind of cool because what it means is you don't have to do button presses to engage lockups, whether that be blade lockups or tip effects like melt, stab, and drag. But any of those functions could be done if you did the activation by holding the button as you do it. Again, we'll demonstrate that real quick. So I'm going to twist on. So now we're in battle mode. So a clash will engage lockup until you pull away, or if we're stabbing, we'll get into a melt. Okay. And then until we pull away from that, okay? If the hilt is inverted, you'll get your drag effect, okay? Until you pull the saber away. Again, so that's just when we twist on or thrust on. So when you use the button to engage the saber, you're just gonna be in standard mode. So a clash is just gonna be a clash, and a stab will just be a quick stab motion. It won't engage lockup, right? But if we wanted to do that, you just hold the saber, hold the button and clash the saber, okay? So to move forward, you'll do a long press. This is like a second, and then let go. Okay, and that'll move forward. If the hilt is inverted, you'll go backwards. So Starfall is the main one. It's running the Starfall font package, which is about 8 fonts. The last one is the last preset is a battery level indicator. So if we go to that real quick.
Battery level.
So this will represent how charged the battery is. And again, because it's programmed for 32 inches, when it's all the way to the tip, that's fully charged. To engage the track, when the saber is off, you're going to double tap your button. And then same to turn it off. So when the saber's on, a double tap and hold will be a lightning effect. So if I double tap, as long as I'm holding, I'm in a lightning mode. Okay. If we do a long press, that will be a force effect, which on this particular font is a quote. So check out some other blade styles and fonts real quick. Effect on this one. So one quick thing I wanted to mention is on this next font, the gesture controls, when you use them to turn on and off the blade, can bypass pre-on effects. Now with the Starfall font collection, there's only one preset that has a pre-on, and that's the next one in this lineup. So we'll go to that real quick. So let me show you the pre-on. So in order to get the pre-on, you have to activate with the button. Just a little bit of animation, turn it off. So now if you watch me turn it on with the twist on, you're going to bypass all of that extra animation and the sound. Just ignites the blade, okay? So that's just for Ruin. So on this particular font, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the color change, which is a little bit difficult because it's a 4-button press when the blade is ignited, but you'll get into the color wheel and it'll jump to the different colors. So let's demonstrate that real quick. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 taps. Okay, so you'll get that color change sound. Then you rotate the hilt to pick the color you want. And once you find the one you want, you just hit the button to confirm your selection. You'll get that confirmation sound. So it's going to remember that color now when we turn it back on. Okay. So I will say this is the only font that color change direct is employed, and color change direct just means it's going to swap between 2 preset colors. The Cornhorn font was kind of built around the lore, and from what I understand, I haven't read the book, but it had a dual phase crystal, so it's going to go from a white to a purple. Okay. So here's our regular white blade, and if we do 4 clicks, we get a purplish color blade. And so if we turn it off, it's going to remember that we stopped on purple. Okay, so if we want back to white, 4 clicks, and then it comes back. So that's going to cover most of the functionality here. If you have any questions, let me know. There is a printout. I will say that there's quite a bit you can do that I'm not showing. So when we're all done, we can pop the blade out, put your blade plug back in, secure that, and then you just hit the kill switch. And again, you'll want to cup, because we have thrust on, it might pop open, but you can just turn it off. So that's your saber.